The Nintendo 64 was most certainly the console of my childhood. How could one forget jumping around as Mario in a 3D environment for the first time, or traversing through the lands of Hyrule on your trusty steed? But there are a lot of games on the Nintendo 64 that I personally loved, and don't feel like they get nearly enough recognition. So today, we're going to bring those games back into the limelight. I'm Vanilla Soup, and welcome back to Super Gaming. Before I get started with today's video, I want to thank all of you guys for being a part of the Super Gaming social media pages. If you didn't know, Super Gaming has a Facebook where I hold polls like this one to see if Link should be redesigned in the new Smash Brothers. Looks like Breath of the Wild Link came out on top, so make sure you follow that page to add your own opinion on those polls. But I do polls like this on Twitter and Facebook all the time, so definitely be sure to click the link in the description down below and check those out. Also, my Discord server is a link in the description below as well, and we are having a ton of fun in that server, and you'll always get a heads up on when I'm live streaming. So if you aren't a member yet, just follow the link in the description. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Hopefully you find this video enjoyable and you consider subscribing. But that's enough of my shameless plugging in my own video today. On to the topic. So the following games aren't in any order, just games that I feel should get a remaster or even a virtual console port, or just something to revitalize the game because for some reason or other, most of these games wouldn't end up seeing a sequel on this system or any other platform. So you won't get games like Mario 64 on this list, or Banjo-Kazooie, or Zelda, purely because I want to focus on the games I find awesome that I would love to see a sequel or remaster. So with that, here we go. If you don't remember or know nothing about the Earthworm Jim series, I am so sorry. This game was a 3D platformer that wasn't afraid of being wacky and out of control. This game was the third installment of the Earthworm Jim series and a technical achievement on the system, so much so that the development of this game was delayed heavily and almost became vaporware on the system, a game that was announced and shown off to sell systems but never released. The whole game takes place in Jim's mind and was a game I loved for how imaginative it was. It wasn't calm and reverent by any means like other platformers such as Mario 64. I mean, you could fart your way up to platforms, and not to mention, the game was pretty metal, but getting you in a position to kill baby chicks and rock out at the same time. The game would eventually get a resolution bump later on the PC, but the series hasn't seen a sequel since its launch. There was a couple failed attempts to bring remasters of Jim's earlier games and a sequel as well, but neither of those panned out, and now fans of the series are left with a sad hole in their heart because of it. This game certainly needs no introduction. Sure, it's a little bit more popular than the rest of the games on this list, but the series Rogue Squadron would receive high critical acclaim and receive numerous sequels even in the GameCube era. So why is it on this list? Well, as large of a fan base as this game does have, fans have been wanting a sequel to come to store shelves, but you know, there's a huge problem in the way. But EA isn't the only problem. Since Disney took over Lucasfilm and closed LucasArts, this game is not canon to the Star Wars lore, and I doubt even after EA, Disney would not want to go back and try and work it all out to make this game work. But hey, they could at least have some sort of spiritual successor even if they focused on a different squadron within the Star Wars universe. I'm sure fans would be happy with whatever they come up with as long as it keeps the style and feel of this game. Sarge's Heroes in its purest form is a satire on the shooter genre, but man was it fun to play. Everything was streamlined in the game. No fancy names for guns or obscure battle tactics, it was just a fun run and gun shooter. I love the idea of this game being brought back to Virtual Console because honestly, even though there was sequels on the 64, I don't see any more being nearly as good as this one. Oh man, this is as arcadey as a 64 game could get. The collectibles, the level design, tricks and combos, all of which were just perfection. Tony Hawk Pro Skater is by no means a simulation of skateboarding, rather it was a fun and classic staple of taking something from the real world and making it into a video game to target those who maybe don't even skateboard in real life. The game would get many sequels, but the series eventually lost its way by trying weird gimmicks and funky mechanics, which allowed the Skate franchise to take the spot in the gaming industry. But I believe if Activision and Neverhood wanted to bring this game back in a sequel or remaster, it would sell like madness. And plus, who can forget this classic opening song?
You are your
are only put together due to them being part of the same series, even if they are completely different genres. Starting off with Puzzle League, why hasn't this game not even gotten a release on mobile devices? This game is simple and structured well. It runs on the same game engine as the extremely successful Tetris Attack, and you can see the similarities between them for sure. The game had a lot of value to it. It was even given full anime cutscenes that really made you feel like you were doing this in the TV show, with Tetris making a resurgence on the Switch, and with games like Candy Crush being extremely popular on mobile devices, this game would catch in popularity very quickly. As for Pokemon Stadium, I'm sure this game rings a familiar bell for most of you. This is always how I wanted a Pokemon game to be realized in 3D. I'm glad we finally have games in the Pokemon series that adopt the moving camera and even the 3D modeled Pokemon, but the real kicker in this game was the mini-games. So many destroyed analog sticks and controllers due to me getting destroyed by my older brothers, but bringing back a minigame focused Pokemon game on the Switch would be a cash cow considering its multiplayer design and accessibility. Bomberman R may have done poorly when it came out, but going up against Breath of the Wild on the launch of the Switch will do that to any game. But Bomberman R has received lots of support and updates. I personally loved the design of Bomberman 64 though. The game was sort of a platformer, but much more like Sonic Adventure with stages and larger than life boss battles. This was my first entry into the Bomberman world, and I would love to see Bomberman return to 3D. But hey, Bomberman R is still good in my eyes, and I'm glad the series is still getting some love. Kart racing on the 64 was dominated by Mario Kart and then Diddy Kong Racing when that game came out, so this proved to be a crucial point. If you wanted to be a successful kart racing game on the 64, you had to do something new and different, and that's exactly what Road Rash 64 did. Rather than the standard 4 wheels, you rode a motorcycle, and rather than racing with items, you tried to literally kill your opponents. Man, imagine what would happen if this game came out today with all the Battle Royale games being as popular as they are. Racing with 100 people, and everyone tries to kill each other. Last one riding wins. Man, 4-year-old Vanilla Soup really got some anger issues out on this one. Like Road Rash 64, snowboard kids tried to do something different than Mario Kart and Diddy Kong Racing. So taking the energy and speed and destruction associated with previous kart racers was good and all, but this game took that feel and put you on a snowboard. Something I believe was truly fun, and possibly even influenced the later releases of games like SSX Tricky, which I loved. Also, I remember playing this game for the first time on the Aqua Blue Nintendo 64 at my friend's house, so maybe I'm nostalgia logged on this one, but whatever. I would totally dig a virtual console release. Oh, you wanted GoldenEye to be the shooter on this list? I'm sorry, did James Bond kill freaking dinosaurs? I don't think so. Plus, this game came out long before GoldenEye, and its main competition was games like Quake and Doom. But what this game had special over those games was freaking killing dinosaurs. Man, the gunplay in this game was amazing too, not even to mention its variety. Everything was fluid and just a real treat to play. The main complaint given about this game was that it had too much fog, something the 360 remakes would later get rid of. But I liked the fog. I personally liked how it made the environment scary and larger in appearance. It had practical usage too. The fog disguised pop-ins, so the rendering of the game was seamless. Also, it allowed those dinos to scare the piss out of you if you weren't expecting it. I want this version back. Not the 360 version, even though I did like that one too. The original is just so much better in my eyes. This one would be so easy. Rampage is even getting a movie this year, so a movie tie-in or a re-release of the original game would be really fun to have. I mean, granted, Rampage World Tour was a 64 game that was a remake of the arcade game, but still, I feel like the resurgence is needed. This game was like Wreck-It Ralph but with giant monsters, so what's not to love? Wait a second, 11? Sue me, I just want to add a bonus game in there, because this game was certainly popular and the series is still, but dang it, I feel cheated after Star Fox Zero. I mean sure, Zero wasn't hot garbage or anything, just regular garbage. I'm not against the idea of them remaking 64, but what they did with it with Star Fox Zero was disappointing and just not wanted. So I want a sequel to Zero on the Switch, but I want them to ditch the forced motion controls and just focus on the game. How hard is it to recreate the amazing formula of 64? Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Super Gaming. And until next time, I'll see you online. Vanilla Soup out.